Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is a good morning, too. We are super early today with a special early edition of the Force for Girls show.
Yes, yes. Happy Wednesday. And why is that, Ricardo? What are you up to this week?
Ooh, we got a lot going on. Crewing Business Mastery, Tony Robbins Virtual Business Mastery, and I got to be online in 30 minutes. So,
Wow. Yeah, TikTok, you guys. Well, that's pretty cool. So, yeah, it's Wednesday, so we're gonna get right at it. I have some questions for you, Ricardo, but just how are you feeling? How you're a few days into crewing?
I'm excited. But that's why the topic today is the topic today because it's all about commitment.
Commitment.
Ooh.
Yes.
Eh, How far do you push yourself when you're committed?
Yeah, that's
That's the
where to
question.
me it was like a commitment and consistency merger is what is coming out, or what I feel this has taught me about just the podcast and what do we need to do to keep our commitment or keep our consistency. And sometimes you need to give up some of the smaller details, like starting at 9 or, etc. You need to be flexible in certain areas so you can get the big picture done. And, I love what Sean said the other day is, it turns out we were just asked to be, or no, I'm sorry, it was Joan. We're asked to be humans, not perfect. And so here
Yes.
we are. It's 7:30, but hey, we're going to rock our days out, and especially you, because you were
Got
doing
a
a lot
lot
of
going on.
exciting stuff. Yes. So, okay. So business mastery, is this your first time crewing ever, or your first time crewing this event? Tell us more about that.
It's my first time crewing this particular event.
Yes.
So I'm excited. I attended in 2018 in Las Vegas with my friend Krishna. And this is my first time actually crewing this event. And it's my first virtual event crew, which is even more special and even more interesting that we're crewing virtual events now.
Yeah. How does that differ? So I do know you've crewed some UPW events, but how is the virtual crew experience different so far? Well, I'll save my questions, let you answer that one.
Well, besides the fact that I can use my own bathroom and drink my own food, eat my own food, it's pretty good. That's the big difference. But commitment wise, it's the hours, right? I'm 8 to 2, and then obviously when the event starts, you have your little job and your area that you have to be responsible for and all of that, and so none of that really changes,
Hmm.
even if it's virtual crew.
Yeah. Is it more one-on-one time with the attendees, or is it more, are you working with group? Are you even working with attendees?
I
That's the
am.
question, because
I
there are a whole
was
slew of duties that have nothing to do with attendees too.
Yeah, I was registering people for the last 3 days, and I got to be registering people today, which is really cool. They come in, I give them a little tech check, and we talk about stuff, and I get them ready to go for business mastery.
That's pretty cool. Are they a hungry crowd? Is it a lot of new faces, newbies that have never heard of Tony before? Or is it a lot of kind of long-term alum who are just going to business mastery for the first time? Or what are you seeing
A
kind
little
of
bit of
overall?
both. A lot of people who've been to Tony before, first timers, people who this is actually their first event. Period, which is
Wow.
kind of unusual and surprising to
Talk
me.
about commitment. Just jumping in.
Just
I
jumping
love
in,
that.
not even knowing what it's about. They're like, okay, this is a business program. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's a little bit more than a business program, but it's okay.
Maybe that's helpful. That's helpful. Sometimes my ignorance has helped me.
It's a little bit
That's
good. But
I always applaud those
it is good
folks.
that they're jumping in. I like how Michelle's like, you guys are early. Yes.
Yes, yes. And I agree. You are looking sharp today. Yes.
Well, I got to be versatile. For those on video, I have my crew shirt underneath.
I love
I
that.
have my crew shirt underneath this jacket. So like that, I could look sharp. And then I can just be like,
Bam.
Superman. Here we go.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Oh, come
Good.
all right,
Good.
all right.
All right.
Whew, commitment, Courtney.
Commitment.
How far do you
Okay.
push yourself for commitment? How far did you push yourself? I think
I
that's the key here.
If I am totally honest, I am learning I'm learning a new level in myself right now in my life, because I can tell you what answer I would have told you, but Courtney right now is like, no, no, she's already learned in the last 30 days more than that. So I think I'm transforming a lot, but it came down to uh, I don't commit to my commitments.
Ooh,
And that was not a fun one to write down when I was like, what do I think about that word? However, that's also where I get the conviction I have now. And that the drive now is because I didn't act, or I just sat there worrying about what people thought for 10 years and never did what I wanted to do. And now it's just like, screw it, let's do it. What, like, what's the worst that can happen? But we forget to analyze, like, what's the best that can happen. And then we get caught up in our ego thoughts. And it's like, no, that was all actually a trick or a game to test you if you were committed. So when you realize the formula, now when something happens, and to be honest, is this something I need to have on my plate? Because if I'm not committed to it, I need to have a different conversation with myself, right? Whereas a month ago, a year ago, I wasn't as good as, deciphering that in the moment. So it's eye-opening, but I can do a lot better, and I'm in a transformation phase. So I'm proud of my progress.
That's a big one, Courtney. Are you committed to your commitments? Because I think a lot of people I used to be like that. I used to set a goal and be like, oh, I am so committed to X, Y, Z. And then when it turned out something better came along, or something like sleeping in, and it was that commitment went right out the window. It didn't take long. One good tired night where I woke up super early, and then I was like, I need to go back to bed. Yeah. And then that commitment went right out the window because I wasn't committed to the commitment.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was Lindsay that talked about it at one of our meetings many years ago, but his book, Big Fat Goals, and it's PHAT, fat, Big Fat Goals. But I remember at that speech, he talked about, we have reasons for what we do. And when you look at, why didn't I do this? Or why wasn't I motivated to do this? Because another reason to do something else was stronger. So I really learned through him as well. And I feel like it's relative, is what do you need to do to keep those convictions strong, to keep that as your main commitment? Because come Saturday morning, man, I'm real committed to sleeping in. I can be real committed to that. I can be real committed to eating like 5 chocolate chip cookies and not, working out. But does that serve me? Do I need, so it's the reasonings in the moment and the ego justification that will come in to back it up, and just is there to, I guess, justifies the word I want to keep going to. But anyway.
It's a trick, though, like you said, because it's not even that it's something better. It's something that we perceive as better in the moment.
Yeah.
Right? Those chocolate chip cookies are not better than working out. We know that logically. We know that's not better than working out. However, in the moment, sleeping in and those chocolate chip cookies, they sound a lot better.
That's why I bring up the X. Okay, so like on our morning calls, I've had folks write this down, but if you draw an X, and at like one row will be the instant gratification. So yeah, you get your reward instantly right now, but up at the top, you're sacrificing something later. Whereas the other row is, you stay committed to your goal. You maybe sacrifice right now in the moment, right? So at the bottom of it, you don't grab what you want, you hold off, but the reward later is going to be much bigger. And so I had a great college professor who described it as the X. We live our life on the wrong line. And then I later learned about Jim Rohn and, pick your discipline, pick your hard. It's not, life's going to be tough either way, you guys. Like, that's my 2 cents, is it's going to be tough. So you might as well do what you need to do to fall in love with it and to learn how to stay committed to you. Yeah. I guess I don't need to add that. Authentically you.
You got to be committed to you. And then the other part to this is honor your commitments. I think it's easier to honor your commitments to others than it is to yourself, though.
Why do we feel our commitments don't deserve honoring? Like something else we promised to do for somebody else or something?
Because we're scared of what other people will think about us. And we don't really worry what we think about ourselves.
That's true.
That's the big thing. You got to honor those commitments. So for me, today is a really hectic day. So today's the first day of business mastery. I still got to go crew this morning and go register people in for several hours. But then I also committed to speak for our friend Grace's event today at noon.
Yes.
Now, this was my fault because I did not put business mastery in my calendar. So when I looked at my calendar, guess what? I was free.
All open, baby.
So I was all open. But if I would have taken the time to commit to business mastery, even though I knew I was going to apply to crew, I should have put it in my calendar. However, that commitment came in first. So I have to honor that commitment because I made a commitment to Grace and her team today that I would go speak for them at noon.
Yeah.
So I had to suck it up and tell the crew managers, the crew leads, which are wonderful, by the way, Julie and Jonathan. Hey,
Hey, we love you guys. Oh my
I'll be on the call in a few minutes, guys. But I just had to suck it up and let them know that, hey, I'm going to have to take an hour break because I have another commitment. And that's the word that I use. I said, I have another commitment.
And I bet what was their answer? Okay.
Yeah.
See you when you get back.
See you when you get back.
But we often, and I will, talking to the choir here, I have held off speaking up for years on certain things. And then when you say it, it's like, oh, that's it. That's it. Okay. So like, what are you holding off, maybe keeping your commitments to? Or I think that's where a lot of us fall. That's where the commitment falls, is in that chatter, but it's just the addiction to approval, like you mentioned earlier. But just ask. It's probably going to turn out better than you think.
We're
not. I don't know. It depends what's on the autopilot that runs on your subconscious, but that's your self-talk.
We're scared to speak up. I think that's part of it. So I think that's what makes it easier to keep a commitment. Okay, so listen to this. It's easier to keep a harder commitment to somebody else than to keep an easy commitment to ourselves.
Yeah. Fascinating. Our brains are fascinating.
It is. It really is. And that's all that leverage because we don't want to disappoint the person. We'll make up whatever story is in our head about, oh, they're not going to like us. They're not going to be happy. We're going to put them in a situation. I got to keep my word. But when it comes to ourselves, these chocolate chip cookies look good.
Right? Yes. Okay. We have a lot of good comments that just came through. Okay.
Good morning, Ursi.
Hello.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes. Okay.
Susan Burns.
Be impeccable with your word. Absolutely. And I actually have that right over here. But the 4 agreements. So that's where that hit home, is be impeccable with your word. That's what I heard the first time we went through it, was that it's not any, I need to honor the words I give to myself and the confidence. So I think that's really good. And that a lot of people, you build confidence and self-esteem by keeping promises to yourself. So I want to include that on Susan's note. So yes, that's in commitment.
Say it again slower, Courtney.
Okay. I think that deserves a deep breath. Okay. So what you say to yourself matters more than anything else you say to other people, and the commitments you keep to yourself, because that's actually how you build your confidence.
Yes.
That is actually how you build your self-esteem. Broken down to the most scientific, it's when you make a promise to yourself and you don't keep it. And then tomorrow, when you make another attempted commitment to yourself, your ego's gonna be like, no, you slept in yesterday. You had 5 chocolate chip cookies. You're not going to do that. And you're going to believe it because the day before you did that. So it's just a pattern and plugging into the right pattern. So thank you for mentioning that, Susan.
It's important.
It's key. It is very key.
Commitments build confidence.
Absolutely. So, and then Michelle, yes. Have you heard the question the other day? Are you committed or interested? That is a great sales question.
Are you committed or interested? Are you committed to your life, or are you just interested in making it better?
I had to learn what true commitment meant, but yeah, heck yes, I'm committed.
That's a powerful question.
Get out of my way.
Comment below. Let us know what you think. Are you committed to your life, or are you just simply interested in
That's
having
a great
okay
filter
life?
question.
It really is.
Question, because that could narrow out a lot of I don't know, just minimal things that I don't have time for that because I'm working on these big goals, or
Correct. Even better, are you committed to an outstanding life, or are you just interested in a good life?
I like that.
Okay, we had an interesting comment that I'm not sure what that means, but we will just move on. Comment
I'm
below,
not sure.
answer that question, because we both stopped to look at it. We're like, huh? Okay, let's just move on. Live
Yeah.
TV, guys. That's what happens. And for those of you listening on the audio version, hey, this is recorded live and gets posted directly to the podcast, so you get what you get.
Yes. Yes.
Oh man, Jesse's like laugh, laugh, laugh. For the
I forgot
audio
to put my
version,
cat up, and my cat started making noise. I was like,
uh,
"Oh no!"
uh, for our
Right.
podcast people, you can go to YouTube. You can go to forceforgrowth.com and go watch the YouTube video so you can see what's actually happening. And if you want to hear the audio version in your car or whatever favorite podcast app you have, you can go to forceforgrowth.com and catch up on the audio version. So we're here for everybody on every medium that you want. Back to
Yes.
commitment. That's true commitment, by the way. Taking the time to be on all these platforms and making sure we put ourselves out there to spread a good message, spread a good positive message, and a lot of love.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So, what have you learned? Okay. So, it's still coming together. Okay. So, what skills have you learned already by holding your commitment and doing both today? So, you're juggling a lot today, but you're also doing new things. And even though the actual event hasn't started yet, you've been working on this for a few days now. So, what new skills? I don't see that. What new skills have you learned, or what are you starting to learn about yourself that you didn't know yet?
Here's the thing. I miss this getting on auto drive, this auto charge, if you will. I miss having so many things going on that I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do this, and just getting in state and being busy. I miss that because I don't do that very often anymore lately. I
Hmm.
just kind of, I have a good day. I have everything pretty much scheduled out. But as you know, with any Tony Robbins crew, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where you're going to be. You don't know where the event's going to take you. So there's that whole thing of, okay, I got to get myself mentally prepared for that also.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the first times, anyway, I crewed, but I remember Jonathan walked on stage. And if you've been to UPW and you know about the 6 human needs, excuse me, but he walks on stage to the crew room, and this is a crew day where he's just kind of like, we're saying good mornings and we're going to sit down and figure out training day, what we're working on. And but he comes in, he does this yoga pose, and he's like, we have a mission, we're going to get it done no matter what, but remember, we're flexible. And he like pulls his leg up into the tree yoga position. And it cracked me up, but I will never forget that image. But I think of that so many times where it's like, we have a mission, there is no exception, this mission will be completed. You might have to be flexible on every detail in between.
Be flexible.
Make
I
it
think
work.
that's
Make
so
it work.
important for commitments. Be flexible. Be
Yeah.
flexible. Big shout out to Karen.
I love Karen's. She
Karen
is
Scoggins.
amazing.
Hello,
Yes.
Karen.
She is one of my concert buddies from 15 years ago. And so anyway.
Man, you know what? That's a good place. That's a good thing to end this. Like when you go to concerts, you
Yeah.
have to be committed to get there. You have to be committed to stand in line. You have to be committed for the whole process. Good morning, Diego.
Yeah.
You have to be committed to everything.
You have to think of the artist. They have to be committed to a whole tour.
Ooh,
Like,
yeah.
what if you were handed 20 different dates in 20 different cities and you have to make every single one happen? Like, that's a commitment.
Commitments all around us.
Like, plan your own tour. What
Oh,
do you do for a living that you could plan 20 different events in different areas? Like, be creative, you guys. You're
yes.
sitting on a gold mine.
Comment below. Let us know what it takes for you to be committed, or what are you committed to? If you're catching the replay on me or Courtney's feed, comment below, answer those questions. We would love to see your responses, and we would love to interact with you. Final thoughts, Courtney.
Just if you're not willing to stay committed to your commitments, drop it. Like, just don't judge it. Don't put at a meeting, don't anything, just drop it. And maybe it's too many commitments on your plate, so just look at your plate. Look at your plate.
Is your
Do you
plate
want
full?
everything on there? No? Okay. Figure that out and then commit. Like, it's all up to you.
My final thought is, don't get discouraged when it gets hard to commit. Don't get discouraged. it's going to be hard. Like today, it's going to stretch me today. I'm going to be stretched because it's going to be a late night. I got several things I have to do today and then still serve as crew because I have a position that I have to do tonight. And I could easily allow myself to get overwhelmed very easily. However, I refuse to. I look for the challenge. I look forward to the challenge. I'm getting energized and feeling excited about the challenge instead of allowing that commitment to be like, oh, that's just too much. Oh, I got too much on my plate. Oh, making up some other kind of story that's going to put me down. Instead, I just go tackle it head on and not be worried or scared about the difficulty or how hard the commitment is.
I love that. Yeah.
That's it for me. Whew,
That is
that's another great
I
episode
know.
on Wednesday, Courtney. All
I
right.
know. Dude,
Guys,
so
make sure you go visit forceforgrowth.com, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe, share this video, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're making some great headway because we are committed to being here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, delivering good content, sharing good thoughts, adding positivity to the world. So help us share this positivity.
yes. Yes.
Woo!
And if you want to catch Ricardo's speech at noon, I did post some details. It's Success North Dallas's Young Executives event. So you can find Grace Speace's personal page or mine, and there will be public details. So you should join us if you can, if you are willing to commit.
If you're willing to commit
Yes.
to your commitment, guys. Have a great day, everybody. And we'll see y'all on Friday.
Yep. Have a great one.